For the past 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, Nigeria has been having challenges that are beckoning and waiting for answers and solutions. That is why we are bringing to you our program, State of the Nation. And this is going to come up on our flagship program this morning on ITV. I am hereby inviting you to join me, Bola Bakare, your host, on State of the Nation, so that we can hasten the motions that brings national development. It's going to be a regular basis on Tuesdays. Make it a date with me. I'll be there waiting for you, and then we shall discuss Nigeria on an holistic level. This morning we shall be doing justice to a topic that is of high import. Because when it comes to governance, we have three tiers of governance maintenance. That is the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. We are particular about the judiciary this morning because the judiciary is what I can call the purview and the succor of the masses. That is where we go to seek redress when we are being shortchanged in whatever manner in terms of governance. But unfortunately, what do we have in our system? Which brings to the fore the topic for our discourse this morning, which is judiciary and conflicting judgments. It is even the layman that does not know anything about law. These days will say, oh, they've done this to this man. He will say, oh, don't worry, wait now, another person will say something else from somewhere else. These are situations that is fast becoming the norm, and which shouldn't be the norm. And the best way for us to address this anomaly is to bring in a professional in that field, for which I have on phone my brother, Barrister Mike Utsar. Barrister Utsar, good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Bola. It's always a pleasure to be with you on this show.
Oh, same here too. Like I rightly said in my opening words, we are beginning to have cases, conflicting cases of judgments, most especially when it comes to politics and politicking. From your own background as a man in jurisprudence, kindly take us through your opening words first before I start throwing some hardcore questions at you. Give us a brief of what you are supposed to do in a normal situation when it comes to jurisprudence.
Okay, thank you very much, Bola, for this opportunity for me to weigh into the conversation around the judiciary as one of the three branches of government. I have argued always that the judiciary is, in my view, one of the most important branches of government. And I say this because judges have and exercise enormous powers. A judge can order that a man is killed if he is found guilty of having committed an offense.
Yes, of course, yes.
We have had situations, Bola, where judges have removed sitting governors. We have had situations where judges have made handed down decisions that have far-reaching implications for the economy and for business entities and all kinds of things.
Of course, yes.
This is the power that judges wield. That is a very powerful institution.
Good.
So, being a powerful institution of governance, the least we expect is that one, members of the Nigerian public will hold judges accountable.
How do we do that?
Well, they will hold judges accountable by ensuring that we are, one, conscious of those who become judges, Two, we will also look at those who eventually, the process of appointment of judges.
Okay, I'm writing them down.
The quality of decisions that are coming from our courts. And then fourthly, which is topical for today's discussion, there are no conflicting judgments of our various courts.
And then what do we have? If they are not conflicting, what do we have?
Well, right now, you rightly pointed out in your opening words, Bola, that there are conflicting judgments, particularly on issues that relate to politics and politicking.
Yes.
I think that's exactly what you said. And you're referring to, I suspect, the cases that have happened in the last few weeks and months in Anambra, in Rivers.
Of course, yes. Of course, yes.
Yes. So this is a very sad situation, Bola. Even a first-year law student knows that ex parte orders on the part of judges are supposed to be sparingly utilized in resolving contentious matters that come before the court.
Of course.
And in the case of the situation in Rivers, in the case of the situation in Anambra, and I think in Kebbi, either Kebbi or Zamfara, I cannot remember now, but it's one of the northern states. It is an embarrassment to the judiciary, and I am happy that my Lord, the Chief Justice of Nigeria and Chairman of the National Judicial Council,
it chastised three of them, 3 judges.
Pardon?
It chastised 3 judges.
Yes. They are under investigation, and they have been asked to show cause why disciplinary measures should not be taken against them. I think this is very important, Bola.
That's true.
Because other judges should be able to see the example of these 3 judges and to say that we will not engage in conduct that will bring us in collision course with the National Judicial Council. So it's a welcome development as far as I am concerned, and my hope and expectation is that as the National Judicial Council is wielding the big stick, even political parties will also, because judges don't just make decisions, they make decisions based on substantive cases that are before them.
But even at that, does that allow for a situation like that to occur in 2 courts? One down south, one up north, on the same issue?
No, not at all. Not at all. A fundamental precondition for adjudication, Bola, is jurisdiction.
That's right. Of course, yes.
As far back as 1962, there is a case, a very popular case of Ikem Dilim against Madikolum.
Okay.
The Supreme Court laid down very clearly how important the concept of jurisdiction is to the process of adjudication. If you don't have jurisdiction, no matter how well conducted the case has been, you have just wasted your time.
How come that doesn't apply now, please? How come it doesn't apply now? We keep jumping from pillar to post.
No, brother, we have 36 states, and I'm not defending judges, obviously. We have 36 states in Nigeria.
Of course.
All with their various high courts. We have federal high courts. We have all kinds. We have the National Industrial Court.
That's right.
So for 3 judges out of this large number of people, maybe numbering over 1,000, for us to have 3 cases where judges have misbehaved now, it's not so bad. It's not a situation that we should praise, but I'm not quite sure it is a fair assessment of the conduct of other judges to say that 3 persons have erred and then the entire judiciary must be placed.
No, naturally, that shouldn't be so. That shouldn't be so.
Yes.
Let me chip in another question here, because right now we're dealing with politics, politicking, and politicians. Let me say this. I want you to take it with a pinch of salt. Thanks to the judiciary, about 5 or 6 of Nigerian states are what we call off-season, which is what you said. Which is what you said earlier, that some governors were ousted, some were brought in based on court orders. You see, the thing is, how do we? You know, I can see the challenges. You understand the challenges. Can you please provide solutions against things like this? Make it in short words, because there are a lot of questions I'm going to ask you today.
No, I mean, Bola, I said it already. We need to be conscious of the quality of judges that we appoint, or maybe I should have started with the process of appointment of judges.
How do we do that?
Right now, it is unfortunate, Bola, that politicians are the ones that are making appointments of judges.
What a pity. What a pity. Is there no way around that? There's no way we can change that. Are we going to continue doing this?
But that is what I'm saying, that the stakeholders in the judicial process must all come together and agree that we need to review the process of appointment of our judges. You know, Bola, a few years back, I don't think it's up to 2 years, the appointment of judges in the Federal Capital Territory Judiciary became an issue for litigation in the court.
Yes, I remember that.
You remember. So that underscores the need for us to sit down at a round table and say, look, this is the way we currently appoint judges, but this then is the way that is more ideal for appointment of judges. For the first time in the history of this country, appointment of judges became an issue for litigation before the court. You know, and
that's an indictment on the judiciary.
That process have not been sworn in. So it's a key precondition for an independent and credible judiciary. We must look at the process of appointment.
It's important.
Once we get the process of appointment right, we would have dealt with the quality of judges that are then appointed. Because now what happens is who knows who, basically. I'm sorry to say this.
No, you're not sorry to say it, because we are going through the experience.
Yes. So we need to really review and put in place a rigorous process of identifying persons who are suitable for judicial appointment. You know,
are you telling me, excuse me, are you telling me the NJC, the NMA, and whatever other professional bodies you have in jurisprudence cannot come together and give us something solid? Do we have to, like you rightly said, you were throwing into the purview of the politicians, that politicians are doing this, they are doing that. But your own profession is a profession of articulate people. Why don't you come together and give us the best? And when we don't get the best, you be the first to shout before we toe the line.
The National Judicial Council is an establishment of the Constitution.
Yes, of course.
The creation of the Constitution.
But let's keep saying it. Let's keep saying it.
But if you must tinker with the composition of the National Judicial Council, you will have to go through a process of constitutional amendment.
What stops us? Nothing stops us. Amendments are supposed to be made. Laws are supposed to be repealed.
Yeah, I mean, laws are made to be. I'm not quite sure I got your last word, but yes, laws can be repealed. But by who?
Us.
The National Assembly has the responsibility for that.
Us, yes, it's us. We synthesized ourselves into the National Assembly, so it's still us. We can talk, we can shout.
Well, I hope they will hear you shouting and hear me also. I hope so.
Okay.
It goes, in my view, it goes beyond just shouting and talking and all of that.
No, what I mean is
we need a coordinated approach.
Yes, of course, yes.
Ensuring we have a credible judiciary. Because, look, if we have in place a credible judiciary, then our legislative branch of government and our executive branch of government will also be put on their toes.
Of course.
Nigerians will be in a position to hold the legislature and the executive branch of government accountable using the court process.
Thank you.
So for me, really, good governance is about ensuring that we have an effective system of checks and balances.
That's good. That's good.
Point really is the judiciary.
Okay. Thank you for your insights. Let me throw another question on you that was based on a research we did and then public opinion views. from what we did, most Nigerians have this antipathy towards the judiciary, that they do not take care of them enough, they are not interested in their welfare, they are interested in themselves and themselves alone. One of the premises of this statement was the fact that our correctional centers are filled with people on awaiting trial. Yeah. Such an extent that it now behoves on people, thinkers like you and I, how on earth will you keep a man in prison awaiting trial even when the sentence is probably 2 months or 3 months, and you keep him awaiting trial for 1 year, 2 years? Doesn't the judge have the jurisdiction to say, okay, this man, you've served your term, you can go home? Because part of what we gathered on the streets was, there was this case of this boy in Lagos. His name is Godogodo. I guess he's been taken to court, and then the law has taken its course. This boy was taken in for simple affray, and he spent 2.5 years in prison. While he was there, he became affiliated to armed robbers, and he came out a good student of criminality. If you follow my trajectory, that is based on the fact that judges, magistrates will not feel it upon themselves to say, okay, this case, you see, I can't help but mention a case of crime and punishment. How on earth will the punishment be higher than the crime according to our books? Why are judges not doing this? Why are they filling that place up? Please, you need to educate us on this, because some people are waiting for me with an answer coming from you, my friend Barrister Usaha.
I'm not quite sure it is correct to lay the blame for this situation, this unfortunate situation, at the doorstep of justice judiciary.
Okay.
The criminal justice system has stakeholders, traditional stakeholders.
Of course.
So you have the office of the Attorney General, whether it is at the federal level or at the
state level.
You have the Ministry of Justice, of course. You have the police.
The prosecuting arm.
The question is one that is supposed to be prosecuted by the police. And then, of course, you have the courts. Then, of course, you have the lawyers also who either prosecute or defend cases as part of the criminal justice system. So all these stakeholders are involved. And I think, yes, there are cases where the courts have also been complicit in this long periods of detention and all of that. But these other stakeholders also have a way of contributing to the bad situation that we have seen. Happily enough, Bola, in the last few years, at least at the federal level, we have had the administration of criminal justice law. It's a radical departure from the past, at least in principle. Unfortunately, that law has application only within the federal capital territory.
Okay.
A few states have, been inspired by that federal legislation to then, pass legislation at their state levels that are in tune with this federal legislation. But not all states have adopted it. So I think the campaign we need to mount now is that more states should be inspired by the philosophy of the administration of criminal justice law.
Okay.
That makes it a lot easier for us to overcome the situation that we have currently on our hands.
I pray so.
Lagos has gone even a step further. Lagos has just recently passed into law an administration of criminal justice legislation.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
More even radical and progressive provisions than the federal legislation that we have. And this is what we expect to see from the other states also.
Thank you.
But it is one thing, Bola, to have a law in place. It is another thing entirely to have the law in place. But at least there is the legal infrastructure or framework for ensuring that we have a more humane criminal justice administration process. At least that is in place.
Thank
now
you.
For the actors to now take up the framework and run with it.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for your insights, because that is the essence of broadcasting. We'll take people like you on, professionals in your fields, give us your insights, share your ideas with the populace, and then we are able to transmit to our viewers back at home. Because I believe one thing.
It's always a pleasure to interact with you on this platform.
Oh yes, it's always a pleasure. It's always. I'm not letting you go yet. I'm not letting you go yet. I'm only trying to reiterate.
That's fine, brother. That's fine.
I'm just trying to reiterate what you've said to us, the kind of insights you've given to us, what we've been able to learn from you. That there are situations on ground where most of all these anomalies are being tidied and being taken care of, for which you gave us a typical example of Lagos State, with the hope that, okay, it will spread to other states, and then the element of access to justice will be easier on the populace. Thank you based on that.
One of the stakeholders I did mention, Bola, is also the correctional center, what used to be known as prison and is now correctional center.
Oh, it's like you read my mind. It's like you read my mind. That was my next line of, okay, before you go into it, let me chip in the question so that it can give me an all-encompassing answer.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because there is no point deluding ourselves. I don't like to use choice words to cushion a bad situation. Let's call a bad situation a bad situation.
Yeah.
Our correctional centers are over-bloated. And this is based, I would like to repeat myself a little bit. This is based on the fact that there is the belief out there that the judges, the magistrates are just adjourning cases that could be handled in a short notice, for which that has added to the population of the correctional centers. Now, take for instance a correctional center that was built for maybe 500 people, and then you have 2,500 of them there. It breeds diseases, it breeds vices, it breeds situations that are beyond the ordinary. It breeds sexual perverts because they are so close together. You see, little things that could have been tidied up at the court level has turned into a conflagration at the prison level, which is what you wanted to revert to when you got talking that we need to look at the correctional centers. But honestly, I would like to look at what gave us the people in the correctional centers, which are the law courts. You can continue, my brother. Continue from where you were.
Okay, so Bola, once again, I'm saying we need to really look at the situation critically so that we don't just solve symptoms and leave the disease.
Okay.
Correctional centers soon after independence, or what we call prisons, in the pre-independence era, were handled by the respective regions.
Okay.
Suddenly, we had military rule that kind of tried to centralize everything. And one of the institutions that were affected by this process of centralization is the prisons. The prisons became an item on what is called the exclusive legislative list.
Which shouldn't be.
What that has done is to place prisons within the legislative competence or capacity of just the National Assembly. Now, if you come to Makurdi, where I am, there is a federal prison. It is called a federal prison. But the prisoners in that prison are basically, at least in my view, 90 up to 92% people from Benue State.
You don't mean that.
Why can't we allow, and the courts that are either sending people to these prisons or correctional centers, as we want to call them now, are the courts of Benue State. So why don't we allow states
localize it to the state level
to establish and manage their prisons?
Yes.
That way, you will have more prisons, because it takes a long time before you put up a prison in any part of the country or whatever. But states must, in my view, my argument is that states must begin to become interested in reasons precisely because of the need for consciousness of dignity, the human dignity component of service delivery.
It is necessary.
But human dignity is one of the issues that we have treated with a lot of debate in this country. You open up the newspapers or you're watching TV or you're listening to the radio, 300 persons have been killed today. What is our attitude? Oh, also, we move on to the next thing. We're discussing football. We're discussing the next thing.
Are you saying mobility is becoming a part of our lifestyle?
And it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. Yes, of course, it shouldn't be.
Human dignity should be elevated to the highest levels, and all decisions, whether in private or in the public space, should be based on this respect for the fundamental rights.
Of course.
Because if you're conscious of human dignity, Bola, you won't go to the prison and see the way we treat fellow human beings in prison. And
I've been there. You can't just imagine it.
Have a good night's sleep. So for me, that's the starting point.
Yes.
So it's not just in the prison, even in the hospitals and all of that. What is the level of consciousness for human dignity by those who are charged with the responsibility of living on?
That's true.
Once there is a high consciousness for this, you will see it in their actions. You won't see 2,000 persons in a prison that is meant to serve less than 1,000 people. It's consciousness for human dignity. And tie that to the constitutional principle of presumption of innocence.
Yes.
It is there in the Constitution. So if the Constitution says that we must presume an accused person innocent, why treat him
like an animal?
People who have been arrested. Like you mentioned the case of a gentleman who spent 2 years behind bars for a crime for which even if he was convicted, it will be less than 2 years.
Yes, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month.
Yes. At state level and I think at federal level, I am aware there is an administration of criminal justice. Members of this committee need to come together, interact with the various legislatures at the federal level, the National Assembly, of course, in the state, at the state level, of course, the state, the respective state houses of assembly. And we must have this conversation and see how we collectively promote the ideal of human beings.
Thank you very much, Barrister Osa, because you've been able to give a fusion, and then you've been able to educate viewers and fellow Nigerians. The most of which is this element of making our correctional centers a purview of the federal government. I can remember vividly, Mr. President said it one time, and then another minister said it again, that there are some instances when we look up to the federal government for things that should be the purview of state governments. Like you rightly said, correctional centers should be the purview of state governments. And where do we take that to? Our National Assembly, which is where we have people that we have synthesized ourselves into 360 in the House of Reps and then 109 in the Senate. It is 200 million people that synthesize ourselves into those figures out there. And then they should please do things that they are supposed to do for the welfare of the people. If it takes an amendment to that bill to make us reduce the correctional centers and make sure I have a situation on hand, like my lawyer brother said, that until a man is convicted, you have no right to treat him like an animal, which is what we do to them in most cases. So what we're saying here is we need to move forward. I am a positive thinker. Life is work in progress, and we should move forward. So, my brother, for your last word, make it short and concise. We started out with the judiciary.
I'm going to try to make it short, Bola. But you know, there are opportunities here and there for people who are outside of government. I mean, the kind of officers that we have seen within the last few years clearly do not give us hope. So my final word would be an appeal to private citizens like you and me.
That's right.
Continue to advocate for a change in the situation that we
That's
have.
it. That's the maximum we can do. Advocacy.
Yeah. And I say this precisely because you are watching events from Rivers with Rivers State Government and the Federal Inland Revenue Service and all of that.
That's right.
I think that case, that decision, which is now at the Court of Appeal, has shown us very clearly we have laws in place that can give us some of the things we desire. Because we've been talking about restructuring. Nobody at the National Assembly or at any other level is prepared.
I've taken a cursory look at it.
but the decision of the High Court, of the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt, have basically opened our eyes to the fact that, you know what, you can actually use the court as a place for us to begin to see a semblance of this federalism or restructuring that we have always talked about. So it is the same thing even with our court system. There are laws here and there that private citizens like you and me and NGOs and all of that can explore.
Are you sure we will get the desired effect with all these conflicting judgments? I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, but we're talking of judges in this country number more than 1,000.
Okay.
If you put all of them together, or around that number.
Okay.
If there are a few bad eggs here and there.
Oh, naturally, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. There's no gainsaying. It's everywhere.
So that's just my point. We should explore alternatives to the National Assembly, our elected public officers, and all of that. We should explore opportunities to make our country a better place.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my brother. And to all viewers out there, that has been my brother, Barrister Mike Usaha, calling in from Makurdi, Benue State. These days,
thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. We have been able to take a tutorial class that has given us insights into what our judiciary should sound like, what it should behave like, what it should work like. And then this is not going to happen in one day. It's a continuous process, and we'll keep pursuing the process until we get the desired effect. But like he rightly said, and for all I know, all we need to do is to keep advocacy going on. And advocacy comes in different forms. There are peaceful protests, which is an advocacy in itself. There are advocacies where you take a case to court, a matter to court, and seek redress. And there are situations where, with the use of the media, you share your insights and opinions with the populace. But on a serious note, one day, it's never enough to take care of problems that have been with us over the decades. And I keep promising you, the state of the nation will always be there to make sure that we go ahead in the development, we hasten the motions for the development of Nigeria by touching on all topical issues and making sure that we get more educated, more enlightened about issues without resorting to fake news.
For the past 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, Nigeria has been having challenges that are beckoning and waiting for answers and solutions. That is why we are bringing to you our program, State of the Nation. And this is going to come up on our flagship program this morning on ITV. I am hereby inviting you to join me, Bola Bakare, your host, on State of the Nation, so that we can hasten the motions that brings national development. It's going to be a regular basis on Tuesdays. Make it a date with me. I'll be there waiting for you, and then we shall discuss Nigeria on an holistic level.